first thing, I'm getting too far inside, okay? All right, so as we kind of go here, yeah, good, right? Keeping our hands in line, right? In line with that, right? And keeping the club face just a little bit out, okay? Now the other thing I can kind of tell here.
You mean out like this way, the club face?
Just outside of our hands.
Oh, outside the hands.
Right, just a little bit,
Okay.
okay? I don't want to get here.
Okay.
I definitely don't want to get over here.
Definitely not.
What we're kind of doing right there.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's kind of set up again. Okay. Now, good. So bring it on back for me. Yeah. Kind of
Too
going
far.
out and away.
Okay.
Right, so we just want to kind of go here. There
Okay.
you go. Okay. All right, just kind of give that a feel here. And we're going to take a look face on here as well.
Like that. Path.
Don't worry about the movement right now, okay? I want to take a look face on here with this swing. Hold on one sec. Okay, and I just want to see a couple other positions, okay?
Okay. You want me to hit the ball?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
please. All right. Face was just a little bit open. Let's take a look here. Okay, so let's take a look at our head movement.
And for the driver's swing where you wanted me to be with my like sternum in my head angle or just the line. The driver you want to be kind of be out here, but for the iron, does that not actually apply to be like all the way out here behind the ball? Because you want to be over the ball with the iron, right? So you kind of just want to be kind of level with the iron, right? I just want to make sure that's
Yeah, the head's gonna move back some, right, a
So you
little
have to get
bit,
up on it.
right? But we still want to keep our head, as we get back to the wall a little bit and behind a little bit, yeah.
So be over, but still have the head,
Mhm.
not like this, but
So let's take a look here. So two things I definitely see here, right? Is that
usually
you're
quick enough.
not even close, right? So the first thing I see here is your shoulders are halfway turned and we have no wrist hinge. So your shoulders are trying to make up for what your hands aren't doing. Okay, let's take a look at our head movement. All right. All right, so your head movement's doing pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, so you got your head up against the wall. Very good. So the head movement, so we're not moving.
It's just the
in-
beginning part that's been mostly the problem, not hinging quick enough. And maybe a little too wide.
Well, yeah, definitely too wide, right? But the big thing I'm seeing here is the hands are going so far away from our body. Okay, so
Hinge it a little quicker.
let's come on over here. Let me kind of show you a little something. So what we're going to kind of work on, okay, is that we're going to get the club so it's just about where it's over my right foot. I'll give myself just a little space, okay? For you right now, you hitting that wall, right?
Gotcha.
Okay, I want to get to here, right? You see where my hands are? Okay, matching my shoulders, right? And as I go, I'm going to go up, right? See how this matches up now? Okay, here. I don't need to keep going back here where we probably, let's take a look and see where we have a little bit of a lift.
Maybe that might be happening if I over rotate, probably will cause me to lift.
Okay, so your shoulder turn is done right here.
Really.
Done. Absolutely done.
And because of my arms, it makes me feel like I need to rotate more to get to that point because
Correct.
I didn't get there early enough.
Correct.
Okay.
So for you, it's going to feel like we're lifting the club off the takeaway. Okay, so here, let's set up, let's look again. So that's where we should be.
So more
Okay, that's
left.
as far as I need to turn my shoulders. Now look where your shaft should be at this point. Your arm should be probably here,
Okay.
and your shaft should be there.
So more like if I like get my
Right.
backswing here.
So let's kind of take a look here. All right, there's the lift. Okay, and that's over rotation with the shoulders right now.
Honestly, it might be just the stretching that I'm
And that's
my
fine.
full, but just know that there is such a thing as over rotation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, see how the head, this is how I can tell that we have a little bit of a lift. The head's doing good, and then watch how much it's pulling off that line now. Okay, that's because we're trying to extend and we're trying to pull back.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and we got a big shut club face too. All right, see all this movement that we have here with our legs? Okay, that's gonna start going away once we get these things to match up. Okay.
Got it.
All right, so let's talk about what we're going to kind of do here a little bit. Okay, I want you kind of up against the wall.
Okay.
Yep, let's kind of get a feel for that. And then I'm going to give you a feel for down on the ground as well. Okay, so here we go. Set up for me. Hands are right here over our right foot.
So it's long enough where you can hit the wall, but to give you enough room to hinge it. So if you hit the wall, that means I'm not hinging quick enough.
Correct. So we want to be right there. Okay, so go ahead and set up again for me. But where's that club face at? See how it's getting so far inside?
Inside, more like right here.
Yeah. So we want to kind of feel like, yeah,
There.
there.
Okay.
Okay. Once again.
Because that is right where the toes are at. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
That's fine. Good job. Okay, it's still a little bit too inside.
Okay.
Good. Now slowly, yeah, you see how your hands are getting out of the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, now take it up to the top for me, slowly. Yeah. Okay, we're still a little too deep, but we can probably get away with that. Okay, because now your shoulders and wrist hinge
Too deep as in what?
deep, shallow, right?
Okay.
Neutral. So I'd rather have your hands more in line with your shoulder or your sternum, or maybe just a little bit back, but you can see that here, you're really flat. Okay? So there. Okay? And that's as far back as you need to really kind of go. Okay? You're going to turn a little bit more. There you go. Okay? And that's it. Okay? I guarantee you, you're going to hit it further with a little bit shorter swing and a better hand.
I don't know what it is about that feeling now. Maybe it's because I'm so used to going so inside, maybe. That being there almost feels like I'm out here slightly, and that's going to cause me to do that diagonal left divot that I don't want to do. I don't know if that's like a mental thing.
Well, I think it's really just comes down to the wrist.
But it's just not going to do that because that's technically where it's not at, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, see? Up, and that's it. Yeah. Where do you feel all your weight?
I don't know. Sorry, I wasn't.
That's okay.
I mean, I felt like I was starting to go to my front foot.
Yeah. So you're gonna feel.
Because I felt it to the back heel, like you want me to, and then feel that shift, and then feel like I'm going to front of the foot toward the toe and impact, right?
Well, let's not get too lost in the sauce here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now,
Yeah.
the other thing that we can work on here a little bit. So, do they have mats over at Huntington?
No.
They
I think
don't.
they should because their driving range is terrible. They did say eventually they're going to want to have the whole range, like have the whole side to side open.
Okay.
They only have a certain part each day so they can give enough time for the supposed grass to regrow. So because there's too many divots around, too much sand.
Well,
The thing is they haven't kept up with that well, so, and they want to flatten the whole range. You know, there's like a little hill toward the middle that goes upward. They want to flatten that. I don't know how long that's going to take, but in the meantime, I do think they should have mats when they're fixing the grass, but they don't.
Well, it is kind of it is a pickle for them, right? Let's think
Yeah.
about it, right? They want to have, you know, the range thing that they're offering to people to come out and practice,
Yeah.
right? But you know, with that practice comes a lot of divots, right? And that leaves a lot of to be desired there. Okay. Now, let's talk about the second way that we can kind of practice. So, do we have like a hitting mat or anything at home or anything like that?
I don't think I have a hitting mat. Yeah, I don't have like that bag you can hit into.
No, we don't need it. We don't need a bag. We just need like grass, like artificial turf or something like that at the house.
I do have like I think like a fake kind of almost like a turf. It's like for a little golf mini game thing. I got it years ago.
Okay.
I think it's kind of technically, but it kind of moves. It's not like sturdy.
Okay.
I mean, that's the closest thing I can. But it's really small. I don't think there's enough to give me enough room to feel confident where I could just hit it instead of hitting, you know, the hardwood floor. You know.
Okay. So what we'd want to kind of do here, let me just kind of talk about this real quick. Okay, let's talk about.
I can't just do it like in the yard. You need-
Well, you could use chalk lines if you got chalk lines. Okay, so let me kind of explain what we want to kind of do here a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, is that if this were a chalk line, okay, this was a chalk line, okay, and then you got an alignment stick I can bum on. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Right here. Here we go. So this is what we're going to kind of set up for our practice station. Okay. So, and this is just to give you a visual of what we're trying to do, right?
Okay.
So, if I had the ball in this line, right? So, we'd have a chalk line right here.
Mhm.
We'd have a chalk line right here,
Mhm.
and they're about 6 inches apart. Okay, 6 inches, 6 inches. Okay. What we want to kind of do here, okay, is that as we take this club back, okay, I don't want to get any of this chalk on my club at all. On the
face.
takeaway or on the down through. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Right now, with your hand path being what it is, okay, you would be getting into that chalk.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Now you're doing a good job of getting your wrist hinge set at the top because you get the lift and you get right here and then you really pull hard.
Yeah.
Okay. See where my face is?
Mhm.
Okay. And that's so steep that it just leaves the face open for us a
Mhm.
little bit.
And it forces you to really extremely close it to even come square, right?
Correct.
And that tends to be the shot where I hit it straight left, and that's like, oh, I actually hit it straight, but that's not, that's
That-
not what you want.
No,
Definitely
no.
not.
So you see what I'm kind of getting at right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of what we want to kind of work on
Okay.
a little bit. Okay, so that's why I'm saying if we could get a mat of some sort, right? And then put chalk here, chalk there,
Mhm.
right? And it really gives you a good indicator because what I want to see when we're striking the ball is that I'm getting it here and then I'm getting this blue line in front. Or I use the blue chalk line up here. Okay, I use red, white, blue,
Mhm.
right? And I don't want any red on my
America.
America,
Fuck yeah.
right? You know, it's just what kids' colors come in. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
I'm just-
but anyway, we want to make sure that we're getting the white and then we're getting the blue.
Okay.
So it gives you a great visual of what you need to do, and it also gets you the feeling of what we need to do with our wrists in the beginning. Okay? So set up for me real quick, just at the end of this. Okay? All right, so
Are the sticks supposed to be like where your feet or the ball position is supposed to like? Is the middle supposed to be where the ball is? Is that
yes.
how you want to set
So
up?
here, let me kind of show you here. I'll give you a little demonstration. All right, so this would be where I'd have that ball placement.
Okay.
Okay, so kind of did this. All right, so, and just imagine this being on the chalk line here, right?
Mhm.
Okay, see how my hands are set right there?
Yeah.
Right, see where the club is?
Mhm.
Okay, to you it's going to feel like a lift. Okay, because you're so used to doing this.
Okay.
Okay, see how our hands are getting so wide?
Mhm.
Now look at my shoulder turn. It's already turned. My hands haven't set.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I get here, right, if I get that club up real quick, not getting that line, down and through. So I would strike here and through. Does that give
Because you
you?
want to did it after the ball, yeah.
Correct, correct. And that's going to get our, oh, that's not even in the channel, that's why. I was like, that didn't register. But that's what we want to kind of do for that. Okay, the big thing I'm seeing here with the takeaway is our hands are getting too far away from us,
Mhm.
okay, and we're getting too far deep, okay,
Mhm.
right, and that's where my path is going to get steep, okay, so I want to be here,
Maybe some of the deepness comes from the stick drill, the two sticks, where you kind of want to
Possibly.
hit through, and I have to really feel like I'm back here to come under. I don't know if that where it comes from.
possibly, but it's like we said before, there's a point where we can go through the drill, right? We can take, an aspirin a day and that's healthy, or we can take the whole bottle and we're going to go see the doc, emergency, right?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we're kind of going at there.
Okay.
So now let me give you a third way of working on that. Okay? One last way. So here, let me take the club one more time. Okay, so for you, right now, because our club is getting too far to the inside, okay, I would take that ball and move it about 6 inches behind,
Mhm.
right? Directly behind. You don't need it to the inside.
Oh yeah, I remember this drill where you hit it, and then that means you want to immediately bring the club up.
Right, it's all coming back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Now this is what we want to kind of feel when we do this, right? I don't want to do that. Okay, see how aggressive that is? Where's my hands?
Two
Where's-
inside.
Well, not too inside, but no wrist hinge,
Or never. Yeah.
right? I'm my arms are running away from me. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's kind of do this. So this is the speed that it should be in. Okay, so about 6 inches right there. And this is what we want to kind of do right here. See how that gently goes back? Right? So I'm controlling my arms and my hands. I'm not just letting them run away. Does that make sense? Okay, so once again, kind of show you. Okay. Once again, so as we go. And that's how we want to kind of practice and hit. Okay? Right, now let's take a look here. Right? Here's the big thing. You can see that my low point is at 4.3, which is good.
Yeah.
I would like it, and this is something I work on, is I want to get mine to about 6.
That's really high up.
Yeah, I guess.
That means like how much you're hitting
Ahead of it.
Okay.
Right? So
Because with the driver, you would definitely, you're hitting up on it with the iron, you're not necessarily hitting up on it, you're letting the club do the work, but does that mean that kind of attributes to like the apex of the ball? Like how high it
well,
goes? Or?
remember, the driver, we have a lot of different properties, right? It's on a tee,
Yeah.
right? But we still want to have our hand path in the same way. I still want to get that wrist set, okay? And the reason I want to do that with all of my clubs is I need to have my wrist hinge and shoulder turn match, okay? But if I'm like this, right?
It's catching up.
Well, then
Yeah.
what are we going to do? Yank,
Yep.
right? Because your shoulders and wrist aren't matching up, right? And it's just, for you, it's going to feel like it's like you're lifting the club a little bit. And the other thing is it's going to feel like it's a lot shorter for you. Does that make sense?
Like the swing itself.
Correct.
Instead of feeling like it's taking a while to get up there, it's more.
Right there, yes.
Okay.
Right? So when we look at like John Rahm or Tony Finau, everybody says they have a short swing. Short to what? If I look at their hand to shoulder pattern, it's exactly matching up for them, right? The problem is that we look at Rory McIlroy way too much, right? And he gets here like this, and then he really rotates back on over here, right? He gets 120 degrees of shoulder turn, right? His hands and wrists don't always match up, really don't match up very well. And that's why we see when he has the bugaboo, whoop, dead left it goes, right? But he is such an extreme athlete, right, and trained for years and years and years that he can do that, right? Now you're going to start seeing, if you really start looking at some of the motions that we see here, you're going to start seeing some of these guys that were really popular in their early 30s and mid 30s start to have a lot of injuries. Look at Jordan Spieth, right? He had that neck injury, right? It's because he's got a...
Was it neck? I thought he had, what was it? Was it wrist injury? I thought he had like some sort of...
He had a wrist injury. That's because of his swing, right? Now he's getting, now because he's got a different pattern that's not correct, now he's having neck issues, right? So these guys that are young that could get away with it, got away with it, right? But you're going to start seeing like people like Will Zalatoris, he's always stuck in underneath, right? He's going to down the road.
And then that forces them to change their swing, right? And then that takes a while.
That gets them onto the senior tour real quick.
Guess so.
Okay, so, you know, and these are guys that have trained for hours, but they perfected an imperfectible move, and it works, but it's only going to work for so long. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, the other one I would say is Scotty Scheffler with his putting, right? He's lost, you know, he's done well to win. Well, I think the field has brought things back to him too. But if you look at his putting, he takes the same stroke on everything. And that's why he's missing putts. You've got to have it, you know, everything's got to match up. Does that make sense? It's not just take it 6 inches and slam it, right?
It changes based off the putt.
Perfect,
You
yes.
just have to analyze the putt and then say.
You got it, you know, he that's why he's going to the claw grip. You know, that's why he's gone to the mallet.
I tried the claw grip. It's not for me.
No,
It works for
might
him,
not be
but
for everybody,
yeah, it's
right?
not.
But he's trying to keep it very short and very square, and that's why he's missing putts, right? I mean, he's going to Phil Kennan, who's the best, but I'd rather see him go to Brad Faxon myself, personally. But anyway, that being said, okay, So we really want to get that feeling, right? Like we talked about before, right? So if I get here, right, take it on back, chop. Right?
Okay.
Remember we used to talk about
Hinging
that?
already like
Oh yeah.
to the toe basically.
Right, and then I get you here. That's it.
Rotate and then right there.
Right. Don't keep going.
Just right there is good enough.
And now you can drive that back down and through, and then you're really going to get back onto your side and come through. Okay, does that make sense, big guy?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, so here,
Okay.
here.
All right, so if I kind of do this, and kind of try to see if this works for all of us. All right. Good. All right, so if I did this to you, all right, we're going to tee it up here, okay, on the inside. I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to put him
Okay.
right back over here, okay, and we're going to take this guy, I'm going to put him right about here,
Okay.
okay? Now you're feeling, I'm actually going to give you a little space here, okay? I want you to jump on in there, get yourself in a good position.
For the 7-iron, what do you think? What is the correct ball position again? Just a little left of center. You think?
Up of center, yes. So I'd much rather you have it a little bit further up, so you're swinging out. But once we get that ball too far back, then we start to swing to the inside like what you're doing.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? So move it just even more forward. Yep, to a point where it's kind of uncomfortable, right?
Okay.
All right, so as we take this club back, right, we can't drag it on there. It's got to be up over that.
Starting to feel like you're already doing it.
Correct. And then what we want to kind of have that feeling is we're here, and then we're getting that out of the ground, right? Does that make sense?
Because you're kind of falling. Except you hinge quick, but then you're extending through.
Well, we're
That's
getting
where
our
you're
angle of
the-
attack where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Okay? So give me just a couple small swings, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure, great.
It's okay. All right, it works better when we got a chalk line, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. Okay, we're just using these guys, and they're not really the best.
Unless the wind blew it, I was like, or I failed that little drill.
That's okay. All right. That's why we want to get some chalk lines or something like that. That would be really helpful for us.
And do a full swing, just kind of like a
That's fine.
halfway
Okay.
to 3/4.
Now here's the big thing that I'm starting to see here, right? Look at our angle of attack. Okay, we're starting to get that a little bit, which is good.
You said you want to be at 6, right?
Yeah.
Is that just your preference, or is that just universally a good number to be at for irons?
I would say that's probably a pretty good number to be at with irons. You
So
know.
that's getting close.
Yeah, it's getting a lot closer. Okay.
So I think the ball position you're saying, I think it's a little further up than I thought it was going to be, because I want that compression, and I thought if it's too far up, you're not going to get the, maybe almost thin it if it's too far forward, you know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that we're seeing, right? Let's kind of come back to this. Oh, no, not left-handed. But anyway, all right. Here's the big thing. Okay. If this is where my ball position is, right, I don't have to swing to the inside to go get it. But if I get here, what am I going to do?
Oh, you're going to have to kind of...
Correct.
Oh, I see.
Correct. So if I get that more up front and I get here, now I can drive down and through and chase that ball down the
You're going to get the
fairway.
result. Okay.
Does that
You're
make
still gonna get the
sense?
Same result.
Okay. Good.
Gotcha. Mostly pretty good.
Yeah. So look, we're starting to get our angle of attack down.
Yeah.
Good. Face angle's a little bit wonky.
Yeah, just slightly not too close enough, because I think that would have been dead straight if I just closed it properly.
Okay, so let's just kind of keep on that thought, big guy. You're doing great.
All right.
Okay. So does that give you a somewhat of a visual of our takeaway? And our, okay.
Absolutely. I'm always trying to tell myself to keep my forearms relaxed too.
Yeah, you
Don't
have a
get too
tendency
tense.
to really want to get those tight
Yeah.
and jump on that
Uh-huh.
swing a little bit.
Uh-huh.
All right.
I hit it behind it slightly.
It's okay. It's getting a lot better.
All right.
Okay, we're trying to go for a feel, right? Trying to get that feeling right? It's gonna be a little bit more of a, feel like a lift to us, like we said, and it's gonna feel like it's a little bit shorter, right? And if I can get you a little bit shorter, you're gonna hit it a lot further.
With less effort, because it's...
Because we're using our angle of attack instead of just
Uh-huh.
shoveling it with our arms.
Gotcha.
Alright, see how you got this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, you still got an angle of attack down.
Somehow I still slightly drilled it.
Probably, if I had to make a guess, you probably got to the inside a little bit.
Just a little, back to that a little bit.
Yep, that's fine.
All right.
Okay, there you go. Alright, good. Good. Okay. So set up for me once again. Alright, big guy. Good, so as we come on back here. Alright, yeah, there you go. There you go, everything's starting to match up.
I feel like the swing's more vertical.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because I'm used to,
you,
maybe I'm used to doing this.
Oh yeah.
I have to get the feel like,
Well, you get back over here and then you gotta jump on
Yeah,
it,
you're
right,
right.
to get it back on the plane.
so it has to, because I think, like I said before, the feeling like, maybe because I'm so used to doing this, here, where it should be, feels like I'm out here, and I feel like I'm gonna go like this and hit the ball that way, but you're saying that's not what's gonna happen.
No.
Okay.
No. So,
Like I said, it could be a mental thing for me, like there's this,
well, yeah.
the brain's weird like that.
Well, all of it. Let's move it up in our stance just a little bit more. Okay? Good.
So more like,
Ah!
it's a nice slight little draw.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a halfway swing.
That's fine. That's all we need to work on right now, okay?
Gotcha.
Right? And probably, to be honest with you, what you think is a halfway swing is probably full. Does that make sense? Because we
Because
just...
I'm so used to going like really far.
Well, you're used to having this lip, this woo
Yeah.
up over here, right?
Okay.
So give yourself a little time, right? But we talked about the swing's going to feel shorter, and it's going to feel like it's more a little bit more of a lift off the takeoff. All right.
A little right on that.
Go. All right. Let's take a look. Look down the line here real quick on this one. Let's see how we're doing. All right. Any questions right now, big guy?
No. That's direction again. Maybe I went a little too quick through it. Slow down a little bit.
Let's see if we got this one. All right. Let's take a look here, okay? Let's draw a few lines here. Okay, better. We're keeping our hands better on that line. Flip face getting just a little bit inside.
Just a little bit again.
Okay.
Yeah, really inside looks like there.
Yeah. So it's really inside here. Okay. See how that hand's way back behind there?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see. So let's kind of. All right. So here's where the hands were. Out of dress. Good. 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 Good.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Just a little bit over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Getting better than what we saw in the first one. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the big thing is that we're swinging so far to the inside. Okay.
And for this proper swing, I've had it a little stronger, but not like super strong, but somewhere between neutral and strong. Do you think that's appropriate for me?
So here, let's talk about.
So I wonder if that could affect, if it can cut
Right,
a little bit
right.
more.
I think your grip may need a little work as well. So let's talk about that as well.
So I have it in my fingers, and then it's like,
Okay.
because I know the driver you said you want neutral, but I kind of go a little stronger. but not like so much where it's like that, but like
So
just
we're-
somewhere in between.
We're gonna do a little drill here, so I wanna test to see how that grip is. I
Okay.
want you to be able to do this. You see how I've got that one finger? Good, you feel where that hand's at? Yep, good. Feel that pad over top? Okay, now let's just kind of put the club next to our side. All right, replicate that feeling. Okay, feel how that hand's on top? Good, now let's bring that right hand on in. Okay, does that make sense a little bit? Does that give you a little bit different feel? Or where the pad is?
Hold on, I'm gonna make sure. So you said,
Yep.
make sure you can do that.
Correct.
And then just kind of bring them in,
Yep,
then come in.
yep.
Okay, it just feels like the hand's probably slightly more underneath to the right side of it, I think, than normal.
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay.
my hand was more like this too much.
It might have been.
So
Okay.
maybe like,
But that's what we want to kind of focus on with that left hand for sure, is I want to make sure that I can take that one finger and put that pad over top,
okay.
and I can do that, okay?
Mhm.
That's going to be those feels that we've got to work on.
I feel like it kind of, my low point was right in the ground instead of after it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to do those.
Good.
Like it's kind of sinking down though.
Okay, so here we go. Let's go. Try to go for a feel here, okay? Set up for me. Good. All right, so as we bring that on back. Yeah. Okay. Here. Okay, that's as far as we really need to go. You're going to get a little bit more turn with it. Okay.
Okay, but you mean with the hinge?
With the hinge, right? But I don't need to be
Okay.
here. Okay, because then you're going to, like we
Mhm.
talked about, okay? So
Just
that
keep
just
it-
takes time.
Yeah, I guess it will. Just like here,
Yeah, that's it.
and then
No, you
But
don't
you
need
said-
to reach back.
I thought you said the shoulders. You maybe rotate a little
They-
bit more.
Keeping
that there.
You've got it. You had a full turn right there.
Really.
That's your lift that you felt right there. Yep.
Okay. I felt more centered, and the club face just way right the moment I hit it. Just wasn't close enough. Definitely felt better though.
Okay, that's good.
Like the contacts.
So,
Just had to close it more. Feels like the middle here is sinking in. I don't know if that's still gonna affect it.
all right, so here we go. Let's take a look here, right? So you see how we're getting really steep. Okay.
I think I just need to know what the feeling is when I bring it down, because you have me in the right position, but I'm so used to doing this. I don't know if I'm still doing the same downward motion instead of it. Do I have to feel like I'm kind of doing this, or don't do that? Get like underneath it to draw it?
No, I mean,
Because when I get here, you just said I'm still too steep.
yeah. Well, that's because we're getting too deep on the backswing, right? You're using up all your space on your backswing for your downswing, right? So it needs to be more like this, partner. All right, so watch where my club's at,
Uh-huh.
okay? When I get here, right? See where I'm at? Okay? You at this point would be here. Okay, that's getting the club too far inside. So when I start, even if I hinge and I get here, right, we're still going to get really deep. That looks familiar, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, nobody's going to do this. You're stuck,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know that. So what you do is you move your hands back on over, and then we're really vertically steep. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So set up for me again. Okay. So here, let me go grab the old. set up for me, big guy. Okay, so just put the club down. Good. So I'm going to kind of move that to the right position for us. Okay. All right, so back up just a little bit for me. There you go. Okay, good. Now, just take the club back a foot or two. All right, where are your hands at?
That's where my feet are.
All right, where's your club head at?
Out in front, so.
Okay, let's do that again. Okay, slide it across.
Or slide it at the table.
Yep, slide it. Right up to the top. Where's your hands at?
Still
Out front, right?
at the hinge head.
Correct. Uh-huh. Uh-huh, now up to the top when you do that.
Or is that still too deep right there? More like
Right,
here.
yeah, there you
Right
go.
here.
Right.
Oh, don't do that.
That's okay. Now we don't need to get so much lateral shift in the downswing.
So I'm kind of doing this too much.
Swaying forward, right?
Because I know the feeling of wanting to transition, but maybe I guess you're saying that I'm.
We're doing
Just
too
doing this
much
too
of
much.
it, right?
Okay.
We're taking the whole bottle of aspirin instead of just a pill. Okay?
Gotcha. All right.
Here we go, okay? Just get a feel for what our hands are doing there. Yeah. Oh yeah, much better. Okay? Good. So that's what we got to kind of feel with our takeaway a little bit. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I don't want to be flippy either. It's
No,
more
you don't want to be flippy.
here, but then just follow through.
Yeah. Rotate through.
Okay.
Okay, good. Uh-huh.
I mean, do you want me to slide it through the whole table and then hinge up, or do you want me to hinge kind of immediately while it's sliding?
Well, the big thing is that we don't need you to get inside.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to block you from getting inside right now.
That's what it's.
Okay, so it might be like this. Force, that's going to be kind of more the feel, but you see where we're still on plane?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All right, for you, you're kind of getting back in here. You'd be beating that board
Yeah.
up, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I kind of did this to you, set up for me. Okay, and I put this guy right about here. Okay, I'm going to put him right about there.
Don't hit the stick.
Don't hit the stick. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Alright. Now here's the other thing we kind of do for that, right? If I took your golf bag, okay, for your wrist hinge, go ahead and set up for me. Okay. If I kind of put your golf bag right about here, okay? Move it back just a little bit for you. Alright, there we go. Okay. Yeah.
Guess I don't want too much.
Correct. We'd hit the golf bag, right? So as a kid, the old coach would just put the golf bag there, and we'd have to work on that. We didn't have balls. Okay. Once again, we had walls, but we never could practice on. Right. And now it's just turn through. Turn. No. Don't get too much. Don't get too much of this. Okay. This has got to go. Come through. That way.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's probably the other problem too. So it's
No.
Like that,
Not
or-
diving through. Here we go. All right. So if I put this right here,
Mhm.
okay, as you come on through, turn inside that. Good. Much better. Does that make sense?
yeah, that's just not, I guess, something I'm used to doing.
No, because you're not doing it. Okay.
So
Yeah.
you feel like the hips kind of going this
Right.
and this.
Right. It's not this. Okay. It's not leaning in.
So my hip is just staying at the side, almost like a hip bump, instead
Right.
of going like.
Yeah, and it's a byproduct of our takeaway.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. How's the wrist? You good?
Yeah, it was more of the forearm, just the way I was holding it.
All right. So here we go. Once again. Just go right here. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Good. Yep, that's it.
The hip is like
You feel how you're going? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Mm-hmm. Just down and through. Good, good. Come on through. Good. Good. Okay. Probably a little bit too much hip going forward and stuff like that. But the big thing we need to work on.
Too much, you mean this again?
Yeah, so we're getting too much like this here. Watch.
Hard for me to feel like.
It just takes practice, man. Right? But it's much more of here, right? Down, through. You see how my hip's getting out of the way? Right? You're getting here and it's going.
Staying stuck.
And you're going like this. You're really driving everything down.
There's no rotation.
No rotation. There's no rotation. It's just down and through, and then you're like coming out of it.
I see.
Does that make sense?
That's probably what could cause some of the open net impact too.
Oh yeah, because
if you rotate your hip, the club's gonna kind of square out.
Where your spine's moving forward.
If I'm saying, say I'm like, staying ahead of the club face, which is good because you're gonna cause compression. But if your hip's not turning, it's just gonna kind of stay open. But if my hip is turning, it might just do this.
What you're trying to do is you're trying to make up for the lack of shaft lean that you're going to have an impact by getting your body to do it instead of having the club do it back behind you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So here.
A little bit more in front of you.
A little more in front.
It's okay. I'm not worried about that.
So the hip. Okay. So I have to.
Okay. You don't need to have the head go into impact. Okay.
Like what?
You're going like this. All right.
Oh, I didn't know I was doing that.
Good.
You can just keep the head where you always have it.
Right there. Lift. Turn around your spine. Turn around your spine. Okay. Where's that hip? Why is it going?
I don't know.
Here we go. Once again.
I don't know if it's a hip mobility thing because it
No,
almost feels hard
it's
to
a
get to that
pattern.
point. I don't know.
All right. So here we go. Get up to the top. Yep. Come on through.
Yeah, it's like that force. It's like it's needed, but I don't naturally do that. I don't. Like I said, I don't know if.
Right. So I'm sure I've talked to you about better. Right. Much better. Right. I'm sure I've talked to you about it. Right. So the right foot, okay, is going to feel like it's doing this, kind of backing away. Right. The left foot is going to feel like I'm doing this. Okay. Yeah. So you're going to feel like your foot is pushing forward, which gets my hip to move back.
It's more like.
Yeah. Okay. Have that right foot turning though too, right? Yeah, now you're getting that turn. Okay. Good job. I'm down and through. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. No, you're fine. It's an old piece of wood. It's going to get beat up.
Yes, so.
Absolutely.
Here. Up. I feel like it's.
Yeah. All right. Hips really opening up, right? You feel that thing opening up?
Would it help if my forward toes kind of outward a little bit?
Well, yeah.
Like
absolutely.
angled just a little bit to open up the hip?
Absolutely. So we want a quarter of a turn with the left foot for sure.
Okay.
Right? All right. Yeah. Is that easier to do now?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that would help.
Okay. So once again, say that for me. Good. It's going to feel like a lift. Good. Okay. Driving it back down in front of us. All right. Don't hold the angle so long.
You mean don't hold this too long?
Don't hold it down here too long.
Maybe that's part of the problem too.
Okay, we want to get here and then we want to release the club. So if we look at, all right, if I look at this guy, all right, see how he's now starting to release the
Right
club
there.
a little bit? And now the hands are right there next to his thigh. You get here and
Just
then you're
leaving it way
still,
too open still.
right, your club is back here. Okay, and then as you move forward, and that's why you're so open. Okay, it's because you're holding that angle too long. Okay, and that's a byproduct of you not setting your hands at the top. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so once we can get this move to kind of go, we don't need to hold that angle to maintain that lag. We need to release that lag, okay? Because where you're going to get forward shaft lean isn't down at the bottom to make up for it, okay? Where it's going to be is when I transition. There's my forward shaft lean. Okay, that's where that forward shaft lean
The
happens.
weight transfer is what.
Right? You're probably going to see a bunch of idiots out there on the range doing this.
Maybe to get the feeling, because maybe they had a different home. But
I'd send them down the road, okay?
Alright.
Here's the thing, right? Get here, right? There's my forward shaft lean. It comes closer to me when I'm up at the top. That's the forward shaft lean. Now it's just maintaining that angle and then releasing my hands as I come through. Okay? All right, there's too many YouTube videos out there saying, hold the lag, hold the
So this
angle.
is so when I get up to the top, this is what I've been doing, like this.
Yes.
But you want to release it before that. So
Correct.
It's more
So
like
as we get here,
here,
right
hinge at
now,
the top,
move forward. There's your forward shaft lean.
and then just kind of let the club
Yeah.
just release through.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. You get your forward shaft lean here. When we fall forward, that's the shaft lean, right? It's not holding that angle down here. That's just going to leave the face open and get steep.
You're right.
Okay? Here.
And then
Yeah.
just
Better.
kind of release it on the
Right?
table.
We're gonna get there, but better. For sure. Once again, set up for me. Good. Come on through for me slowly. Yeah. Okay. We don't need to have our hands here and that's still there.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. Good. Once again.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. Good. Your hands are ahead. That's perfect. That's where we need
Right
to
there.
be.
And
Yeah.
then my hips starting to feel like it's going left.
Correct, correct. We don't need to hold that angle so long, right? And the face is going to start squaring up a lot better for us
I can already see it's about the square.
than that,
And that,
right?
yeah.
Okay?
I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah. Does the face look a little bit more square as we come through now? Okay, good. All right, so if I look at Henrik here, all right, he gets a nice little load back. Right, but look, okay, look where his shaft lean is, where his hands are and everything like that.
They're already
It's
ahead
just
slightly.
slightly ahead of the ball. It's not club being way back here and trying to hold the lag,
Because the
right?
angle's in the club face itself, so it's going to do the work, right?
Correct, but if I set my wrists at the top, I've got my angle of attack. I don't need to try to create it on the way down now,
Okay.
right? I want to start it on the setup as I go up. Okay, so all right, so good. Hands just a little bit past his feet. Look, right? Everything's matching up.
Shift.
Shift is right there.
Shaft lean then.
Right, so if I got right here, let's see, right here. Okay, I'm going to put a line right here. Right, so as he gets up to the top, right, that's the top of his backswing.
Uh-huh.
See how it gets closer to him? That's his forward shaft line. That's where he creates the forward shaft.
It's just that slight shift forward.
Correct, correct. So let's take a look here as he gets to here. All right, let's just kind of take a look here. Boom. Let's keep it moving just a little bit. I like this. There we go. Right there. Okay, so that's his outward positions. Look how much closer the club shaft is to him now.
Because of the.
That's where he's getting his forward shaft from. Okay, it's not what you see on YouTube or those guys on the range that are doing this. Right? I see so many people in the mirror doing this. They're like this.
Yeah,
right?
I see that a lot.
You see that all the time, right? The hands way past the left thigh.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're saying, I got to hold the angle, I got to hold the angle. The reason they've got to try to hold the angle is because they didn't create it at the beginning. Does that make
And
sense?
they didn't realize it was the foundation that was off.
Well, I guarantee you they're probably taking it out real wide, right? Because they're watching Rory, you know, take driver swings where he's getting his hands way out over here, right? And then he's getting up over here, right? Hands, and then what we got to kind of do is now we got to kind of throw that club, right? And then I got to maintain that angle. The face is going to be open all day long.
All day, every day.
Okay, or you're going to flip city. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Right? So, let's set up again.
Let's do a couple practice swings.
Okay.
All right, so toe a little open. Bring it up like this.
Mm-hmm. All right. There. Here. Yep. See shift. Yep.
And just gonna let the club.
Yeah. And then release it. Yeah. There you
But
go.
don't get the hip stuck. Feel
Don't
like
get, well, we don't. But I think if we do everything else correctly, that starts to clean itself up.
naturally.
Correct, because you're not doing this.
Because I don't
You're
want
not
to think.
trying
Because like I said, I don't want to think about too many things. Because that obviously is not the way to go either. Too many swing thoughts. So.
No, I mean not too many swing thoughts, but the reason you're trying to hold that lag is because we're laterally shifting, right? So I'm getting like this, and that's what I'm trying to do to hold that lag,
Uh-huh.
right? So this hip isn't turned out of the way; it's just kind of blocking and moving. Okay, so it's got to be as I get on up over here. I've set my wrist. I've gotten into my left side now. There's my shaft angle, like I said, right? And as I come through, right, I've got plenty of shaft lean right there.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty. Okay?
You're right.
And now I'm through. Yes. Okay? I'm videotaping this one. There's a lot of info in this one.
Mm-hmm.